Hey guys, welcome back to Burn This Ship, the podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to go all in and connects them with professionals that can help them do it. Today, our guest is Miss Becca Rich, and she is going to tell us about her story. So, Becca,
Hey, Kellie.
what is your business called?
Yeah. Hey, Kellie. I'm just grateful to be on this podcast. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited to chat with you and yeah, share my story. So, my business is called the Holistic Time Coach, and I mainly just work with business owners, but really anybody who wants to get their time back and get things done without hustling and get their time back to be human.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something that everybody needs. So, when did you start your company?
Yeah, so I started my business January of 2020. So it's been about a year and 6 months, but I had a business before that started, it just like evolved into what I do now. But before my business was mainly meditation and yoga and stuff like that while I was still an engineer.
Okay, cool. So, you were an engineer before this.
Yep, I was an engineer before starting my own business, and I actually I left the engineering world in July of 2020. So it's been about like a year coming up soon.
Awesome. So, where are you guys at? Where are you located?
Yeah, so I'm a digital nomad actually. So I'm in the US right now. I plan to hopefully get to Europe. But the plan initially was to go to Europe. I had one-way tickets
Oh,
with
wow.
my husband to France in September of 2020. But obviously, as you know, COVID like derailed that whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, the past year we have been traveling just in the US and off the grid, on the grid. Right now we're in Maryland in the
Okay.
United States.
Awesome. Where did you grow up at then, since you're all
I
over the place?
Yeah, so I actually grew up in Maryland, but I went to school in Louisiana, and I lived in Louisiana for years when I was in my engineering career. And then, yeah, I just had a huge dream to become a nomad and travel
Yeah.
around.
If you
So,
had one-way tickets, then you definitely had that dream.
yes.
So you went to LSU, right?
Yep, went to LSU, go Tigers, and studied engineering, graduated, and worked in engineering for a few years.
So were you always passionate about engineering before you got into what you're doing?
It was sort of kind of on accident. I got a scholarship just basic like randomly to go to LSU, and I went for it. Never knew anything about engineering. I was just like, I'm good. You know, people think that if you can be an engineer if you're good at just like math and science, and I was like, whatever, I'll just go for it. And I went for it, and it was fulfilling to a certain extent, but just wasn't totally for me. You can't really be an engineer while being a digital nomad, or at least
Right.
I didn't figure out a way to do it yet.
Yeah. So that how most people would not think that engineering could possibly connect you with doing what you're doing. So did you just know that in your life in that engineering space that you just needed more time and you knew that you could find ways and help coach and better other people, their lives and their businesses?
Yeah, so my story, I love to just bring it back to like growing up, right? Like we grow up with um the majority of people grow up knowing that there's a lack of time to spend time on themselves, to do what they want, to follow their dreams. And so I think, I grew up with an entrepreneurial dad. He owned his own business. And so he worked 70 hours a week. And it was just, you know, living with the impacts of someone working all of the time. And so I think just like growing up in that environment really made me super high achieving, and I just loved my work and I wanted to just work all the time, and I burned out. So while I was actually studying to become an engineer, I went to the hospital with an intestine infection,
Oh,
and
wow.
like pretty severe one. And I sort of like ever since then, it was sort of the turning point for wanting to take better care of myself, my body, my mind, my mental health. And so I became a yoga teacher, a meditation teacher, Reiki, like all the things that just like heal myself. And then I started teaching that to others. And it sort of just evolved. Like I said, the first business that I started was teaching yoga online because I wanted to be a digital nomad. And this was prior to COVID, right? So now everyone teaches yoga online.
Right.
But for whatever reason, in like 2018, no one wanted to do yoga on Zoom.
You were
And I'm
ahead of
like,
the
let's
curve.
go.
You already knew. You're like, we're gonna get here eventually.
Yeah, yeah, and I knew that. And so, yeah, I mean, COVID, I didn't predict COVID by any means, but I definitely was like, people are like you could do one-on-one like private yoga sessions online, and I can just do that from wherever I travel around the world. And it just something was missing, and so really just going inwards again and again. It was more so I was more passionate about helping people find time for yoga, find time to be more present in their lives, find time for themselves. And so that's sort of how it evolved into what I do today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you were way ahead of everybody.
I sometimes when I tell this story, it's like I have to be like, this was 2 years before COVID, because when people are like, yoga online didn't take off, like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no.
No, it did. You're like the Simpsons predicting the future.
I mean, hey, maybe for online yoga, but it didn't work for me. And yeah, I'm glad, because what I'm doing now feels much more aligned with my mission
Yeah,
and my passion.
you're definitely very passionate about what you do, and I think that that's great. So you've become an expert with your time management and getting other people to have healthier, better lives. So why do you think that that's just super important in the business world?
Yeah, so actually, an amazing statistic that sort of sets this up is that 70% of business owners, or 70% of American workers, want to be business owners. And mainly the reason behind that is for time flexibility, time freedom, to be in control of your own schedule, like a lot of these reasons. But then what ends up happening is that the average business owner works approximately 50 to 60 hours a week. And then they don't get their lives back. And then they're stuck in the cycle of, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time, especially as you grow and scale, right? So I think being in the business world, like an entrepreneur, it's so hard to separate your business from your life. And there's like all these hazy boundaries where it's not just like a 9 to 5 where you just shut your computer and you're done. It's like it's your life, it's your baby, it's like your passion, and you're so driven. And so there's a lot more work that needs to go into managing your time as an entrepreneur or a business owner. It's not just cut and dry, like done.
Right. And you noticed that with your dad when you were younger, and you kind of followed in his footsteps at first and then just pulled it
At
back to,
first.
well, now I see why it's important for kids, family members, everybody to have healthy business lives.
Right.
Got to manage your time well. So how did you did you just slowly over time learn how to develop this skill of time management and healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, so the difference between me and I mean any other really time management and productivity coach or person out there is really how I came to be this holistic time coach was really my background in yoga and meditation. And so there's a really deep, strong connection to living in the present moment, being compassionate with yourself, giving yourself flexibility and grace, as well as putting you at the center of how you manage your time. So it's not just about like reading a book and trying all these time management hacks and like wanting to be your most productive self. It's like it's sort of just shifting that into, let's figure out how to spend your time in service of all aspects of your life, not just work, not just professionally, because what we're finding more and more, like statistics and studies, that the better family life, the better personal life, the better mental health, the better physical health, you get things done faster, and you're much more creative, and you're much more inspired and connected with the people that you work with in your business. And so basically, the better that you can holistically manage your time in all aspects of your life, combining everything and putting you at the center of it, it's really your key to, if you want a successful business, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. And you definitely live by that. What, you work 3 days a week, right?
Yeah, right now I'm working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So
That's
you're
awesome.
my
That's the
hump day
schedule I
today.
gotta get on.
I got you.
Yeah, seriously. Like, let me get in that plan.
Yeah.
So this has obviously really benefited your life, and you're married with your husband. Has it really helped your relationship with him to manage your time and business better?
Totally. And he actually helps me. So he's like an SEO content writer. He writes for a few companies and including mine. So he gets to help me with my own content, my own SEO. And it's really fun working with him, but then also just being able to, like I said, when I first became full time in my business, I was still working like a 9 to 5 schedule. And I was just like, I didn't do this to work a 9 to 5 schedule. I did
Right.
this to get my time back. And that's where the 3-day work week came into play is I like was really struggling with my husband because he was like, let's go rock climbing, let's go hike a mountain, let's go do all these things that we like made this lifestyle for. And I wasn't able to, quote unquote, able to.
Right.
And so, yeah, it really has shifted our relationship for the better. And I'm really grateful to be able to spend all the time that I have with him since making that shift.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's the exact opposite of what couples are saying now that they're spending more time together during quarantine.
Exactly. I'm like, let's hang out more. I'm like, I miss you when we work too long.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait to see the divorce rate after this year. And just going to go spiking up. Not yours. Not yours. So you when you developed this business, how old were you? Or started doing the little things that you did in order to kind of jump into this? Because you look younger.
Yeah, I'm 26. So
Okay.
I just look like I'm 15. No big deal.
That'd be impressive if you were 15.
I claim it. No, I claim it. No, but I burned out when I was 18. I just turned 18. I went to the hospital, and then I think my first like Reiki training was like a year or two later, and then I became a yoga teacher when I graduated college. So all the small steps that have led me here today. But January 2020, I was 23 and I just got married.
That's awesome. So our audience is a lot of entrepreneurs that want to, they're aspiring entrepreneurs. They want to take that leap of faith and what we call burn the ship, which is why we developed our podcast name. Because there's some Columbus dude, what's his name? Hernan Cortez. He had all of his soldiers or whatever, and they pulled up to the island, and he literally burnt all the ships so that they could never go back. So that's why when you're with us, like with the MP group, and you're an entrepreneur, like burn that ship so that you don't go back and you put everything that you have into it. So what was that? Tell us how somebody can take that stepping stone and burn their ship.
Yeah. So coming from someone who just burned theirs, it's scary. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is one, prepare yourself, right? I'm an engineer. I'm a Virgo, like all the key indicators of someone who like makes like super calculated decisions and thinks about everything way too much. Getting the numbers, making sure that you are safe, secure, because building a business from scarcity is so, so hard. Like I know a lot of people say desperate energy, like it really does impact your ability to grow when you're able to trust yourself, trust in this process that you're going through as safely as possible. It really, really will help you grow exponentially faster than if you're doing so with doing every decision based out of fear. And so, saving up money and making sure that you are prepared as possible in every aspect of the word really will helped me burn my ship as easily as possible. But no matter what, it's going to be challenging. It's going to be scary. You're going against still our societal norms are to live and work corporate and 9 to 5. And so to be able to change and start your own business, it's going against the norm. And find people to support you in this journey because it's rewarding and challenging.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like no matter what, it's going to put pressure on you, but hopefully the reward is worth that initial risk.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm where I'm at right now is sort of just in this like in between zone of like my business is starting to like grow and take off, but then I'm also like in the fear. I don't know. It's just like in this limbo zone. So it's really fun to continue to practice to trust myself and live, practice what I
Yeah.
preach. And obviously, the biggest piece of advice is to spend your time as intentionally as possible. Don't waste it. Go
Right.
for it.
That's what my boss always says. He's like, it does not matter what you are doing. Time is the most important thing for you. Like your time
It
is
is.
actual money. Like you need to
Yeah.
use your time very, very wisely.
I think time is more important than money because, like they say, money is replaceable. Money is comes and goes. Time is limited, and we're taught to exploit our time and cherish and value money more. And so that's what I'm, with my business, I want to flip the script and say your life is not a resource to exploit, right? Cherish
Right.
it. It's your life. Like create a beautiful life for yourself. And by doing how to do that is by spending your time intentionally.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Okay, so if you weren't doing this, what would you do? Do you think you'd still be an engineer, or what would your goal job be if you weren't in this career?
That's interesting. I like this question because I've never thought about it. I I mean, I find like problem solving is like my thing, right? My brain is super engineering based. And so, yeah, I'd probably stay in engineering. I would definitely, I'm a risk taker, even though calculated risk taker. I think that I would definitely still challenge my bosses to give me challenging positions. And, traveling is always something that has been a passion of mine. So I would say that maybe I'd be an engineer, but maybe not in the same cubicle. I just can't. I'm not made for a cubicle. So I don't know.
Okay, so we're gonna play a game. Um, we're gonna do Would You Rather, and I made up a bunch of them that are more time oriented,
Oh,
kind
I
of
love it.
fitting to you. Okay, so first one: Would you rather spring forward or fall back?
So I hate the cold in the winter. So spring forward, even though you technically like lose an hour, you're getting close to more sunlight. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So 30 extra minutes of sleep or 30 extra minutes of meditation. And I wrote that down before I knew that you were doing meditation stuff. So props to me. Just had a feeling. I got a vibe from you when we first met. I'm like, she meditates.
Yeah. Actually, since COVID, my brain like I'm starting to. Well, I just broke my foot like 2 weeks ago, but before that, I was like during COVID, I just like have not meditated at all because my brain is just like I need to move. I would say probably 30 minutes of meditation if I can like get into the groove of it.
Got it. Extra time on social media or extra time reading?
I would like to read, but social media is addicting.
Facts. I did have TikTok on here originally, and then someone was like, well, I wonder if she has a TikTok. Just put social media. I was like, okay. TikTok. That
No,
is a
it's
wormhole.
actually so funny because I've been debating whether to get a TikTok because the videos are just hilarious and it's like such an like I just like I'm inviting more joy into my day today right now and like playfulness and fun. And so like that's what one of the thing that I was thinking about doing. And then after talking to so many people, like I just decided that I'm not gonna get a TikTok because it's way too addicting.
Yeah, yeah. It's very addicting. I have to set a timer on my phone and remind me, like, hey, you could be being productive. So, time reading preferably, but social media is the right answer. The
Is what
honest
ends up
answer.
happening.
Yeah. So, would you rather stay a small business or become a larger business?
Ooh, that's a good question. I I want to say small, but no, I want to become a big business.
That leads me into my next question. Would you rather work alone or have employees?
Employees.
Yeah, kind
I
of
like
divvy out
thrive
the
in a
workload.
team.
Yep, before that I put work in a group or work by yourself. And then I changed it to employees.
Yeah.
The staying small or being large, I know that my boss originally, when he created our company, he wanted it to be a large business. And as he's grown and our company has grown, he's still made it small. Like we're big, we have a big reach, but we're a small company. If that makes
That's
sense.
yeah, and that's why I was like small but big. Like I want to keep the one-to-oneness and the meaningful aspect and communication connection with folks.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's really nice about us being large, but still staying small is that all of us are super close. There's only 9 people all together in our entire company, but yet we have so many merchants. So it's nice and it keeps a homey feel and everybody stays really close. So yeah, I agree with that. So how do we find you on social media? Hit us with your website, your socials, your LinkedIn.
Yeah, so you can basically Google the holistic time coach and you get all the things: Instagram, YouTube, my website, LinkedIn, like whatever. But yeah, just Google the holistic time coach and find out which platform you want to connect with me on.
Absolutely. And how can our company help you in any way?
Yeah, I think, being on this podcast is a great opportunity. I'm so excited to when it releases and I get to share it with my list and on my social media pages and things. But yeah, just staying connected and showing up for networking events. I wish I could have come this morning, but I had client calls and other stuff going on. But yeah, just staying connected.
Absolutely. And we will definitely do that. So burning the ship for you was just taking a leap of faith. So tell our audience why they need to make that leap. Burn that ship.
Burn that ship because your time, like your life is precious, and staying where you are is not making you happy, or you wouldn't be pursuing potentially burning the ship.
Right.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And we will definitely be staying connected. So everybody go follow Becca Rich, the holistic time coach, on all of her social media and her YouTube channel. And if you need more time put back into your life, then hit her up. She'll help you with all aspects of it.
I'll help you create a 3-day work week if you want.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell that to my boss. All right, bye, Becca. Thank you so much.
Bye, Kelly. Thanks.
See y'all.